On the hour, every hour. The latest news from Yorkie Radio.
Good afternoon, it's 4 o'clock, I'm Amy Hall. Tributes have been flooding in for a 10-year-old girl killed by her own dog in North Yorkshire. Savannah Bentham's parents have described her as their wonderful girl. With more details on this story is Christina Ollivant. So, Christina, tell us what happened.
It happened last Friday at a static caravan near Moulton. A member of the public went to help the family after the attack, before emergency services had arrived. By that time, the dog had been secured inside a car that was later seized by the police, who took it to secure kennels.
What more do we know about the dog?
It's believed to be an XL bully breed, who police say will now be destroyed. It is, of course, now almost a year since the XL bully ban that made it illegal to sell, give away, abandon or breed from an XL bully. According to the latest figures from the Office for National Statistics, there were nearly 3 times as many deaths in 2023 compared to the previous year as a result of dog attacks. Here is a vet's personal experience.
Really complicated issue. I've worked as a vet in practice for many years. I would actually say about 30% of the dogs I see nowadays are of the XL bully type. I've seen these dogs come in, a big dog like that, so much damage, and they can kill another little dog. You know, it's very difficult. But I've seen some absolutely lovely XL bullies.
North Yorkshire Police said all indications so far suggest it was out of character, with the girl and dog having a close, loving relationship.
So, have we heard from anyone close to Savannah?
Tributes have been released from friends and family who are utterly shocked and devastated by the death of the wonderful girl. Rachel Wells, head teacher of West Heslington, says they will remember a girl full of joy.
York men facing life imprisonment. 2 men are facing life sentences after being found guilty of setting a man on fire. Here with some more on the story is our reporter, Felix Bodil. Felix, can you tell me a little bit more about the incident?
Yes, in April of this year, 2 men, 29-year-old Joshua Strickland and 27-year-old Robinson Binks, were arrested and are now facing life sentences for spraying a man with lighter fluid and setting him on fire. The incident took place at a flat in Fossway just after midnight on the 19th of April. The 2 defendants entered and began to spray the fluid all over the man's arm and shoulders. Strickland and Binks proceeded to follow him around the room laughing before the victim ran onto the street screaming, where he was put out by a neighbour.
Is there any update on the victim's condition?
He is currently recovering after suffering burns and blisters with some skin loss on his back and shoulders.
What was the outcome of the trial? After
first denying their involvement, an unanimous jury at York Crown Court has found both Strickland and Binks guilty of causing grievous bodily harm with intent. Judge Simon Hickey says that the attack was one of the most shocking he had ever seen as his time as a barrister.
What happens next for the defendants?
The sentencing of the 2 won't happen until January next year, as the judge first wants them to be assessed by a prison psychiatrist.
Thank you, Felix. Knife point robbers and women are arrested for abusing buskers. A man has been arrested following a series of knife point robberies and motorbike thieves in North Yorkshire. All 3 robberies started with the victim attempting to sell their motorbikes on Facebook Marketplace. The buyers then asked to test the bikes before driving away without paying in both Stocksley and Thornton Le Moor. One seller was threatened at knife point before giving the bike away out of fear. 2 of the 3 bikes have been recovered and an 18-year-old man has been arrested. The police are urging people to make sure exchanges happen in public and well-lit areas. A woman has been arrested after abusing buskers in North Allerton. The 31-year-old was arrested after she harassed 2 buskers who were playing at the corner of Zetland Street and the High Street on Sunday the 27th of October. No one was hurt, however. The police have expressed their concern that the incident may be part of a wider pattern or campaign of abuse. In case you forgot, Bonfire Night is tonight, which can be a scary time for our furry friends and pets. A local pub in York, however, has come up with a solution. There's Rosie Laverick on more of this.
The Carlton Tavern in Acombe are opening their doors for dogs to escape from the noisy firework displays, with plenty of treats on hand and drinks for their owners. I spoke to the pub's manager to find out more.
There's a lot of dogs that are scared of fireworks. So all we do is just basically let people know that they can come here. There won't be any fireworks for the dogs. Obviously, dogs are welcome inside, and we just have like a load of treats for them behind the bar. The landlord and landlady have 2 dogs, and they're scared of fireworks.
Today, I took to the streets of York to find out what the public think about this event.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. Obviously, it'll help the owners know that the dogs aren't sat at home shaking with anxiety, and it lets them enjoy the night with the dogs.
I think it's great. It's a way for families to go out and enjoy bonfire night and not have the stress of worrying about their dogs and their safety.
And finally, here's a roundup of some of the bonfire events going on around York in the upcoming days. Tonight, from 5pm, Bulletin Centre are hosting a magical bonfire display with food, drinks and plenty of fun for the kids. And on Saturday, Rawcliffe Country Park are hosting their annual fireworks show to raise money for the Firefighters charity. There'll be live music, fun fair rides and a range of displays for all ages.
Here's Molly Stiles with the sports report.
Ruben Amorim has 2 games left at Sporting Lisbon after being named as Manchester United head coach this week. Tonight, Sporting face Manchester City in the Champions League. Amorim warned United fans not to get carried away with what he might be able to achieve at their club, even if his Sporting side beat United's bitter rivals tonight.
If it's a very negative outcome, the expectations will drop. And I think that's not exactly a poor starting point when I start with Manchester United. If we win tomorrow, people will think that the new Alex Ferguson has arrived. And of course, it will be difficult to live up to that expectation.
Manchester City are still without their flair midfielder Rodri for that match tonight, who is out for the rest of the season. Although he is sporting a knee ligament injury, his performance for club and country saw him win the Ballon d'Or last week. I've been taking a look back at the event in Paris.
Roderick.
With another Premier League title and a Euros win with Spain under his belt, it's no surprise Rodri snatched the top award from the likes of Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. Real, although a no-show, weren't without awards however. The historic club were named the best men's team in Europe. Spanish players dominated on the women's side too. Barcelona claimed both the best women's team and the Ballon d'Or feminine with their star player Aitana Bonmati. Finally, Jenny Hermoso won the Socrates Award, given to someone whose humanitarian effort has changed football. Her tireless work to combat harassment in the sport began last year when she spoke out after a non-consensual kiss from the then president of the Spanish Football Federation, Luis Rubiales, following her team's World Cup win. On a night of glitz and glamour, this award is still a reminder that football has work to do.
It's a great honor to award the 2024 Socrates Award to Jennifer Hermoso.
Defending champion Novak Djokovic has pulled out of the ATP finals in Turin due to an ongoing injury. Djokovic had qualified for next week's event as the 6th best player on the ATP tour, after a year in which he won Olympic gold but failed to add to his record of 24 Grand Slam titles. The world number 5 will now most likely not play before January's Australian Open. 6-time Olympic cyclist champion Sir Chris Hoy has said his cancer diagnosis doesn't seem real, as he's spoken for the first time since he announced his cancer was terminal.
It's been the toughest year of our lives so far by some stretch. September 2023, I got the news that I had a terminal illness, so I've got stage 4 prostate cancer, completely out the blue. No symptoms, no warnings, nothing. All I had was a pain in my shoulder and a bit of pain in my ribs. You know, I'm 48 years of age now, still lifting weights in the gym, still exercising hard. Just thought it was aches and pains.
Since making his diagnosis public, Hoy has spoken about finding hope. But today he reflected on when he first heard the news.
When the scan result came back, it was a tumour. And it was the biggest shock of my life. I remember the feeling of just absolute horror and shock. And from then, you know, appointments and seeing different doctors and different hospitals. You were in this world where you felt like you were just existing. You weren't living. It was just like a living nightmare. I'll never forget the words. You know, it's incurable, but it's manageable.
Over to the local news now, and York City will look to extend their 11-match unbeaten run in the National League when they face managerless Hartlepool at the weekend. Once again, a sellout crowd is expected at the LNER Stadium, and despite defeat in the FA Cup midweek, York fans are excited about what they're seeing.
We're going to finish top. I'd like to think we're going to finish top, and we're going up. No threats at all. We are going up.
Meanwhile, Harrogate Town face bottom of the league Morecambe on Saturday lunchtime as they look to gain some form in League 2. The Sulphurites have only managed one win in their last 7 games. Moving on to cycling now, and a York-based group want women to listen up.
The club goes out every single Sunday, no matter come rain or shine. We do a 30-mile ride, a 40-mile ride, a 50-mile ride and a 60-mile ride. So we've got lots of different rides on offer.
That was Chris Waplington, Head Communication Officer for the York Rulers. His mission is to introduce new women to their group in an attempt to close the gender gap in his sport.
A big thing for us has been about breaking down barriers to entry and barriers of perception as well. One of the things that we are conscious of is that if a woman turns up on her own to one of our rides and she sees just 60 men in lycra, that's quite an intimidating situation, and often a man is not going to feel as intimidated seeing a group of men like that as a woman will.
The Rulers hope that with their new 20-mile social ride, which takes place every Sunday, it will encourage women to get out and jump into the saddle. That's your sport. Now it's back to Amy for the weather.
With bonfire night tonight, many of us will be heading outside to watch the firework displays. So, how visible will they be? Good news! It's going to be an overall dry day with some mist and mildly foggy skies. Highs of 12 degrees today with a very low chance of rainfall across the York area. The temperature is set to drop to 10 degrees as we progress into the evening. Fireworks will light up the sky nice and early with the sun setting at 21 minutes past 4 tonight. Tomorrow the temperature will be slightly warmer at midday with highs of 14 degrees and misty skies throughout the early morning, turning it into a fairly bright clear day. This is your bonfire night weather. Thank you.
On the hour, every hour, with the news that matters to you. This is Yorkie Radio. This